The first night I heard the baby crying, it wasn't from any woman's room. It was coming from the corridor. I grew up in a face me I face you compound in Ibadan. If you don't know what that is, imagine a long corridor with rooms facing each other. Each family rents a single room. We share one kitchen, one toilet, one bathroom. Privacy doesn't exist. Everybody knows everybody's business. Fights break out often, but we also protect each other like family. Back then, I was about 13. My parents had just moved us into the compound because my dad's job wasn't paying much. The place was crowded and noisy, but it was cheap. We had about 8 families living there. Among all the families, there was one woman that everyone whispered about. We called her Mama Shola. She lived alone in her room with her teenage daughter. People said she was wicked. She hardly greeted anyone, never joined compound meetings, and cooked at odd hours in the night. Some said she was a witch. Of course, I didn't believe in witches then. I thought it was just gossip. But after what I experienced, I will never laugh at such talk again. One night, around 2 a.m., I woke up thirsty. I went to fetch water from the clay pot near the window. That's when I heard it, the sound of a baby crying. At first, I thought it was from one of the neighbors. But the sound wasn't coming from any room. It was in the corridor. The cry was sharp and soft at the same time, like it was echoing. I froze. Nobody in our compound had a baby. The youngest child was about 5 years old. The crying stopped suddenly, like someone pressed pause. The silence that followed was worse. I quickly went back to bed, covered my head, and forced myself to sleep. The next morning, I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? They would say I was dreaming. But it happened again. 2 nights later, the same cry came. This time, I heard footsteps too. Slow, dragging steps moving along the corridor. I peeped through the small hole in our door. What I saw still makes my skin crawl. It was Mama Shola. She was walking barefoot in the corridor, holding nothing, yet the sound of a baby crying followed her. Her eyes were open but blank, like she wasn't awake. She stopped in front of each door for a few seconds, then moved on. When she reached our door, I almost fainted. She stood there longer than the other doors. The crying grew louder. I held my breath and prayed. After what felt like forever, she moved away. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I finally told my friend in the compound, Tosin. He was 2 years older than me and liked to pretend he wasn't afraid of anything. When I told him about the crying baby, he laughed. You too they fear. No normal thing. They say Mama Shola they do something in the night. What do you mean? I asked. He looked around, lowered his voice, and said, people say she dey suck children's life. That's why she know they greet anybody. My mama even warned me not to collect food from her daughter. I wanted to argue, but my body still remembered the sound of those cries. That evening, I overheard my parents talking with another neighbor. Apparently, one of the compound children had fallen sick suddenly. The boy was fine the previous day, but by morning he was weak and could barely talk. His parents said it was ordinary malaria, but the way people whispered, I knew they suspected more. And everyone's eyes kept drifting towards Mama Shola's room. About a week later, it happened again. But this time, it was worse. I woke up because I felt something pressing on my chest. It was hard to breathe, like someone was sitting on me. My eyes opened slowly, and I saw her. Mama Shola was in our room. I swear on my life, she was standing near my bed. Her eyes were glowing faintly, not bright, just strange, like candlelight. She was holding something small in her arms. It looked like a baby, but when I looked closer, it was just a folded cloth. The sound of crying filled the room, even though her arms were empty. I wanted to scream, but my mouth wouldn't open. My whole body was frozen. She bent over me, as if she was checking if I was asleep. I don't know what saved me, but suddenly my dad coughed loudly in his sleep. Instantly, she straightened, turned around, and left the room. The crying stopped the moment she stepped into the corridor. When I could finally move, tears rolled down my face. I didn't sleep till morning. Things in the compound grew tense after that. More children were falling sick. Always the children. Weakness, fever, nightmares. Parents started locking their doors with extra padlocks at night. Finally, one evening, the men in the compound called a meeting. My father didn't want to attend at first, but the pressure was too much. Everyone came out, except Mama Shola. She stayed inside her room with her daughter. The neighbors began talking. Some wanted her out of the compound. Some said they needed to call a pastor. Others said it could just be coincidence. Then one of the women shouted, if she no get anything to hide, make she come out and join the meeting. People started banging on her door. For a long time, she didn't answer. Then, slowly, the door opened. She stepped out, wearing a wrapper tied across her chest. Her eyes were red, like she hadn't slept in days. She looked at all of us amazed. What is it? She asked. Her voice was sharp. One of the men accused her directly. Children dey sick for this compound. Not only you dey walk around for night. Wetin you dey find for corridor when everybody dey sleep? She didn't flinch. If una wan accuse me well. I no fear anybody here. The argument grew louder. She kept denying everything, but the way she stared at people made some step back. Finally, she shouted, if anything happened to una children, no be me. No una wicked mouth go kill una. Then she slammed her door. That night, no one slept well. 2 days later, it happened again, the baby crying in the corridor. But this time, almost everyone heard it. Doors opened, people peeped out, and whispers filled the corridor. Some mothers started praying loudly. One of the men ran to fetch a local pastor from the nearby church. Within minutes, the man arrived with a Bible and a bottle of oil. He began to pray and shout in the corridor, rebuking witches and evil spirits. We all watched from our doorways, shaking. Suddenly, Mama Shola's door flew open. She rushed out, screaming, "Leave me alone. Leave me alone." Her daughter was crying behind her. The pastor poured oil on the floor and kept praying. Mama Shola fell to the ground, rolling and shouting. She spoke in a strange voice, deep and rough, nothing like her normal tone. She cursed, she spat, she kicked. Finally, after what felt like forever, she went silent. The pastor kept praying until she lay still, breathing hard. Then he told her to leave the compound. The next morning, she packed her things with her daughter and left. No one tried to stop her. After she left, the strange crying stopped. The children in the compound began to recover, slowly. People said the pastor had cast out the spirit troubling her, that she was only a vessel. Others said she was a real witch who finally lost her power. As for me, I don't know what to believe. All I know is what I saw that night in my room. I know I saw her standing over me with that invisible crying baby. Until today, when I hear a baby cry in the night, my heart jumps. Because sometimes, I wonder, what if she didn't really leave? What if she just moved to another compound? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, drop a comment and subscribe to our channel.